This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
ABC January 8th. Tim Allen and Kat Dennings star in the new family comedy Shifting Gears.
Dad, I'm broke and I need a place to stay until I figure out what the rest of my life looks like.
So, a couple of days.
When his daughter moves back in.
The last time you walked out that door, you looked back at me and gave me a double bird.
I was 18. The double bird was how I ended all our conversations.
The wheels come off.
Can we try to talk to each other like rational adults?
Have you watched the news lately? That's not a thing anymore.
Series premiere Wednesday, January 8th on ABC and stream on Hulu.
But right now we have on a guy who actually broke into this business in radio before he became an iconic figure on television news broadcasts throughout the nation and obviously right here in the metropolitan area. Your fellow Greek, Ernie Anastos. Ernie, are you there?
Hey, how are you guys? Happy New Year, Curtis and John. How are you guys?
We are great. We're here, pitching the tent. And, well, Ernie, what did you do last night?
You know what? I kind of relaxed. In the earlier days, we would go out and do certain things. But, when you start having a family, if you talk to a lot of people, once you start having children, things change. And you sort of stay home more and you do more things with your family. And so our kids have grown up. We've got some grandchildren in the family, and we love that. So it was sort of a family night, nice and quiet, watched the ball drop and celebrated, another new year, which I'm very excited about. I'm listening to you guys, and I can't help but add a lot of this information. You were playing one of my favorite songs, Palisades Park. John, I know you know the words to that. You know the lyrics to Palisades Park, right?
Yep.
And when I was in Chicago, Curtis, you mentioned radio. I was working for WLS Television and the Great Chicago Fire, WFYR Radio. And they brought in Freddie Boom Boom Cannon. They had a party one night because it was an oldies format. And I met this guy. His real name is Frederick Anthony Piccirillo Jr., and he's from Revere, Massachusetts. And then he went with the name Freddie Boom Boom Cannon. What a guy. I mean, what a personality. And I remember talking to him back then in the 70s, and it was all about attitude. You were talking about age, Curtis. Attitude. Everybody knows this. If you feel positive about your life, if you feel that you have a purpose in your life, why you're here, what you're doing, that's what gives you the spirit and the attitude about living well and living longer. And of course, a good diet. John, you and I know about the Mediterranean diet, and I think, my wife's a fabulous cook. And, I think about taking care of ourselves. Guys, I've done the news in New York for over 40 years, ABC, CBS, and Fox. And I've covered so many stories. I've done so many things. And I'm looking at this year, and I'm saying 2025, wow, how did we get here? But I'm happy we're here. But we know politically there are a lot of changes coming, and I talk to a lot of people on the street. A lot of my interviews on the radio are talking to people about public opinion, and people are ready, more than ready, for something to happen. I think, what I'm hearing is people are saying to me, Ernie, I've seen a lot, I've witnessed a lot in this great city and in this country, and we're ready for some change, some positive change. We're looking for something to make a difference in our world. Do I have to go through all the negative stories that are on the air, from the violence that we see, from the hatred, the discrimination, the attitude that permeates our country and our world for the most part is something that people have had enough of. So I'm being very optimistic in this great new year. I really am. And I'm looking forward and I'm saying, let's have a good year, a safer year. We live in New York, and I love this city. I know I'm going on and on, but I love to talk. I love this city. It's the home to over 800 languages. Isn't that fascinating?
How many languages?
800 languages, the most linguistically diverse city in the world.
800 languages?
800 languages, exactly.
There's only 193 countries. It's amazing. Yeah. 800 languages?
Yeah, 800 languages. And you've got people from all over the world that are living here and sharing and being part of this great city. And I love this city. I've cared about it for so many ways. And I started thinking about all these different languages, and I said, my God, how about our Spanish-speaking audience out there on 77 WABC? Feliz Año Nuevo. Let's not forget that. What about our Jewish friends? Shana Tova. And John, for our Greek friends, Kali Chronia, Chronia Pola. I mean, I love the languages in this city, and I love the people. And that's what makes it great. I mean, if this is where we have to respect one another, guys. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because you guys believe the same thing. This is what makes our city the most amazing city in the world. And what we have to do is we have to put our arms out. I would love to see a campaign, Hands Across New York, where we look at one another and say, where you're from, 800, where you are from, we're all part of this world. We're all part of this city. Let's help each other. Let's have respect for one another. Let's honor each other, and let's find ways to connect and not disconnect. These are the things that I really feel very strong about. And you know what? Going back, that's what keeps me young, guys. That's what keeps me young. That's what keeps me alive every day. The Greeks had a wonderful line. They said, I have a wish to die young, but as late in life as possible. So what does that mean? Youthful heart, youthful spirit, having a way to be able to connect with this world. Yeah, we can remember the past and respect it, but we have to embrace the future and embrace today. Let's live for now. So I'm really happy about the new year, and you guys are doing a great job. John, I love you. I've known you for over 45 years, and you're doing an amazing job with WABC, and I'm happy to be part of this family. Every time I come to the studio, Curtis, you know this, I walk through the halls, people are connecting with one another. We're busy. We're doing our job every day, but there's a spirit here, John, and you and Margot have brought that to WABC, and it's number one, and there's a reason for that. There's a good reason for that, and I'm very, very happy to be part of it, and I'm looking forward to it. A new year with a lot of exciting things happening. You guys excited?
Well, I think we're going to make a comeback. I think, Ernie, I know you don't like talk politics, but our country was on the edge of disaster.
Yep.
And I don't know who did this to our country. It just, it's like we woke up one night and it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. John, I agree with you. And, when you say I don't like to talk politics, let me just clear that up. All the years that I've been covering the news, and people out there who are viewers and listeners will tell you, I have always walked that straight line. And for a reason, because it's my job. Okay, there are people who are great at what they do, and you guys are part of that, giving commentary and having an opinion and so forth, and I respect that. For me, as a journalist, as a news anchor, Cronkite was my role model. He was my mentor, and I learned just report the facts and just follow the line.
I love that, too. I like that, too, but what happened to the major networks? You've worked almost on every one of them. Yep. What happened? Where did they go wrong? And they're not telling the truth.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
This is going to sound like a real broad answer. Competition created a whole different environment. There was a time, believe it or not, where news broadcasts were not even rated. There were no ratings for the news. It was a public service. You went on the air, you reported the stories. That was part of your FCC commitment. But, when competition came into play, when everybody started looking for ratings, for advertising, and I'm not saying that that's the total blame for it, but when all of that started up and people started thinking, oh, this is how we can make money, then you talk about the explosion. We went from 3 networks to how many things do we have today? I mean, how many channels do we have on the air? Over 5. How many streaming services? Internet. Everything that you could ever imagine. That's changed the platform. So people have said, okay, we need to take a position. If we're going to be on the air 24/7 reporting the news, we can't just repeat the stories over and over again. So what happened? I was part of that. I was on, part of a format at one time where people were talking about public opinion. They started putting programming on the air that was interesting, that was something that gave them identification, gave them a sense of who they were and what they could depend on. And that's what changed a lot. And then, of course, we started with all this personality business. And I don't want to start putting people down, but, all of a sudden, news people, became stars. News people became almost like sports personalities, big figures, big salaries. And as a result, all of that became part of what you guys are talking about today. So you have all of this kind of programming on the air. We have to live with it, but we have to find our way to be able to say, okay, let me put the truth on the air. Let me put the information on the air that really people want to know about. And I think WABC is trying to do that. John, I know you love common sense.
The truth is paramount.
Yep.
I mean, Peter King, who's going to be on later,
yep.
He says he would come out of a Homeland Security meeting and go upstairs, and one of the guys that was with him was, what's the name of the guy that just won the U.S. Senate in California, Schiff?
Yes.
Yes.
And Peter King would say, I was shocked. He'd go upstairs and lie and just tell a completely different story.
Yeah.
I mean, where are these? Why are we allowing people that lie? I mean, what's going on with the White House? It just hurt the American dream.
Well, don't think people haven't recognized that, John. I mean, you and Curtis know that. People are very leery. I mean, look at any public opinion polls. Talk to people. Everybody has that concern. Where is the truth? I don't know what to believe anymore. That's a very common expression from a lot of people because they don't know where to find it. So they're concerned and they're looking for ways. There are books that are coming out now that are on information, anxiety, that people don't know where to turn to find the truth. And there's a real gap here. There's a real need for it. And I think that if we can do anything in 2025 is work harder to find a way, to find an avenue to be able to have sources where people can trust.
Well,
I mean, that's a big deal. People don't even watch. I'm sorry to say this. People don't watch a lot of the news anymore. If you look at the hot level, homes using television, particularly at night, they don't want to watch because it's too frightening, because they don't want to watch it, and they don't believe many times what's going on in the air. It bothers me. As a journalist all my life, it bothers me. And I know it bothers you and a lot of our listeners and viewers out there who are looking for the truth. And that's what we want to do, right, John?
Absolutely. And what I say, and I said it last night at midnight, It's not about being a Republican. It's not about being a Democrat. Right. It's about being an American, being a New Yorker, and wanting the best for New York and wanting the best for America. And that's what it's about. Plain old common sense. Absolutely. John, I mentioned, God bless him, Cronkite, who was such a dear friend. And I remember one time Walter was talking to me, and he said, you know, Ernie, he said, what we do, he said, we're watchdogs. We're watchdogs. We look to see what's going on, and we report it. He said, we're not attack dogs, and we're not lap dogs either. We're watchdogs. Yes. We bark. We present the information and let people out there respond to what's going on. That's what we have to do, present the truth as watchdogs. And I believe that. I think it's still fundamentally true, and I support that wholeheartedly. And I hope that there's a campaign, and John, you, Curtis, and the rest of the staff can continue to lead the way to just present the truth and the information that people really need to know without tainting it in any way. And if you are going to give an opinion, say that. There was a time, and again, going back to my TV experience, you guys will remember this. I would be on the air, let's say on Channel 7, and we would be doing the news. And at the very end of the broadcast, every once in a while, you would hear the announcer come on and say, this is a WABC editorial, speaking for the management, general manager. And the general manager would come on and give a short 1-minute commentary about an issue in New York. But it was labeled as an editorial. Yeah. I mean, how much has that changed? It went out of control. Ernie, we got to take a break. Yeah. But thank you for coming on. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys. Let's all work hard. WABC has a reputation of telling the truth. Let's all work hard to keep the truth flowing. And we'll catch up again real soon in the new year. Happy 2025, guys. God bless.